Hi everyone, welcome to Gazbeard's Battles in Battle Pirates. This week I'm doing the third video reviewing the targets that were in the November raid, which will be repeated in the December raid for the final of the series of Reaver's Returns. So here we are, we're going into a 71 and I messed up. I forgot to change out the Phantom flagship for a suicide gunboat so that I could control the three Hellwraiths using just one key and one mouse click each time. However, we've taken the back end off the Reaver fleet, and now I'm going to try and get the left hand side of the fleet without worrying too much about the Phantom flag. And you notice I'm clicking on the targets and moving into range. It's not the best way to do it. I really should be moving in very slowly and just inching into range, and then as my range circle just touches the target, the torpedoes will start to fire. By clicking on them and moving up to them like this, then they end up inside the range circle and they can fire back at me, and if there's other ships within remote targeting range, they're shooting at me as well. Now this is very different to driving the Tide Seekers that I used in the previous two videos for the tier 3 and tier 4 targets. It is possible to do the tier 5 and the tier 6 targets without any damage. Lots of people have put videos up showing that. What I'm showing here is the way that most people have probably been playing them, and you do rack up the damage very, very quickly. Now my Hellwraiths are running around with 6 fire twisters on them and 6 B torpedoes, the ones that give an extra 5% speed, and the speed is working against me because the Hellwraiths are moving too quick. I need them to slow down a bit, and with the new torpedo that's come out in the Forsaken mission this month, then I'll be refitting to those because they have the same range as the fire twister, and I'll be replacing the B torpedoes with them. That'll lose me a little bit of speed, make the Hellwraiths a bit more controllable, but it'll also give me a lot more damage with each salvo. It's going to be interesting to see how the different reload speeds work together, because the new torpedoes, the Mayhems, have got a 4-second reload, whereas the fire twisters are a 6-second reload. So it may well be that although there's about a 300 difference in the damage output, the Hellwraiths having the higher damage output, it may well be that I can actually take the particularly the Hades and the scout ships down in half the time that I'm currently taking them down, or half the number of volleys that I'm taking them down, because as you can see I'm sitting in range far too long and I'm getting shot at because of that. And I've completely messed up this approach because I was trying not to bring the Phantom Tiger Shark into the range. I brought the Hellwraiths in one by one, which was why the circles staggered, and it just meant that they were completely wrong. I'd come in at the wrong angle and I was taking retargeting fire, which is the yellow circles that pop up. I got away with it, I survived, but I took a lot of damage and it's going to cost me on repairs. So we've just got those last few drones to get rid of. There's loads of time. I can swing right out of the way for the surface time and then come back in and take them out. The target itself is not that difficult. The difficult part is being patient not going in if there's a risk that you're going to get shot at, and creeping in, inching in, a piece at a time against the ships with thermal, so that they don't spot you and you shoot at them right on the edge of your range. You'll see me do that a couple of times later in the video. Okay, so that's the 71 out of the way. And what were the points worth? There we are, 286,000 for that target. So 3 hours 20 minutes repair, far too much. Part of it was worrying about the Phantom, part of it was just rushing at the targets, part of it was a little bit of lag, but it didn't affect it that much. So here we are going into a 73. I've now swapped out the Phantom for a kamikaze gunboat, which I'll just let charge at the main fleet and die. There it goes, off on its own. That means I only have to worry about the 3 Wraiths, and let's see if I can drive them properly in this one. And you'll notice at the moment I've targeted them individually until the gunboat is dead. Now I can move them 3 at a time. Try and get rid of these 2 Hades, and not quick enough to get out of there. Now that dispersion on the subs is definitely a combination of having taken damage and lag. The Hellwraiths, once they've taken damage, they go into overload, which gives them a 20% speed boost, and again I moved in too far and I got remote targeted, and those long range torpedoes that come off the remote targeting really do hurt. As I was saying, the Hellwraiths, the big downside to the Hellwraiths in a target like this, and it's where the Barracudas, Spectres and Tiger Sharks win, is that because the Hellwraiths can go into overload and get all the bonuses and buffs that come from that, they do end up running at different speeds if one of them is in overload or 2 of them is in overload and the other one's not. And that's when you get the separations kicking up. And in this one, I'm showing you that, I did not wait for the drones to go far enough away. And because of that, as soon as the Hulk, big ship, picked me up on thermal, the drones came back to get me. So, surface time, regroup the ships, and you notice that even though they were all sent to exactly the same spot, the range circles are still not matched up. There's still a slight shift in the position of the ships creating them. These 3 Hades that are left over once the Hulk's out the way, quite easy to get. Just be careful how you move through the oil. Get rid of the drones, and this is a dumb move. I was in the oil, I was going to accelerate too fast, and I put the scout ship inside my range, and of course it punished me, as it will do. You never approach the thermal ships through an oil slick. Always come at them on clean water so that you can control your speed. Now we're going to put some of the splash to work on the fire twisters. We're going to shoot at the Hades, the black ship, and the splash is going to take down the scout, which is the grey ship. And we might just have to close in to put the final torpedo into it. There we go. Those new Mayhem torpedoes will be much better because they've got a much larger splash range. And again, rushing too much, I came at the scout through the oil, and one of my Hellwraiths moved too far forward. It's something you've got to avoid if you want to minimize repairs. Do not approach across the oil. So in this case we're going to try and use the splash again. We're going to go after the Hades at the back and hope that it takes out the scout that's alongside it. If we can do it with the splash, it saves us having to close into firing range. go, and again I'm not watching carefully. I'm going to cut through that oil and I'm going to shoot forward and bang, remote targeting from the next scout in the line. The target's nearly finished now. My Hellwraiths are in overdrive. They've got the defense and other bonuses going, so I'm just going to batter on as if they were service ships and get the target finished. And using that overload and its bonuses is the way that I hammered through the first raid in this series. You know, I just, in the end, I gave up trying to dodge everything, and I just said, let's just charge in, get spotted, get surfaced off those stupid mortar things, and let's just charge around on the surface in full overload, not worrying about what damage we're taking, because so much of it is getting mitigated by the overload. Now, we've got just under 4 hours repair from that target, which I made a complete mess of. So, we dive back to dock. We've got a GM crew sitting in the spare fleet repair slot, repairing the tide seekers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cancel their repair, kick them out, put the Hellwraiths in, and once the Hellwraiths are in that repair slot with the Grease Monkeys crew there, then that 4 hours drops to 2 hours, which is effectively quarter time, because we're already on half-time repair during the raid, and with the GM crew that halves that again. So that was 4 coins to repair it. It would have been 8 coins without the GM crew, and it would have been 16 coins outside of a raid. So you don't take it lightly when your Hellwraiths get damage. And you certainly can't afford to charge around like a lunatic and suicide them outside of a raid. So the Tide Seekers are back on repair, and we've still got enough time on our Molotov Maidens 2-star crew. So we're going to go out and we're going to start hitting the 75. And the 75 is quite a tough target. And I'll show you the classic mistake in this once we get about halfway through the video. So here we are. It's another left to right convoy. We saw this in the tier 4 targets. So again, hitting the Hades, splashing on the scout. Unfortunately I came in at slightly the wrong angle and I still took some damage. The Hades you can fire at and get as close as you want as long as you're submerged. They can't hit you underwater. And with the stealth level on the Hellwraiths, they're very unlikely to spot you unless they're directly above you on the map. My Hellwraiths are not the most stealthy, but they do have a 101 rating, 101% rating on stealth. I've seen people running around with them at 110 and even one at 117. They must have sacrificed a lot of other things in order to get the stealth that high. So we'll get rid of these Hades at the back. And as that Scout and Hades pair that's moving up at 45 degrees moved up, they just clipped me with the thermal. And you saw the remote targeting rings going off. So we'll get rid of that Scout. And again, stupidly, I'm trying to take advantage of that overload, and I'm charging around like a mad thing. And that time I got away with it. I must have just inched in enough. Too far in this time. He's going to fire back at me. Yep, there we go. There's the overload kicking in. That overload kicks in every 1,200 points of damage. And I've worked it out. I can get 11 overloads per Hellwraith before it sinks. this is a risky manoeuvre. Notice the ship's coming down at 45 degrees immediately behind the hulk. One of those is a scout with thermal on it, and I just managed to get out of there before I was detected, and the drones didn't detect me, and I was just enough distance away from the hulk for it to not detect me. Now, at this point, what I should do is go over to the left side of the map and wait for the main ships to do a U-turn and start coming back across. But being in a rush, I've come charging in, managed to get rid of the scout and some of the drones and the Hades, took a bit of damage, and I'm dithering about. I should not go back in at this point. I should pull away, and I've realised too late I'm too close to surfacing, and I'm taking a pounding. Come out, and I've got a lot of damage sitting there, and I've surfaced, and I'm too close to the drones, and the drones are going to have me, and they're going to severely punish me. I should have moved much further away. I was too focused on getting that Hades. Watch your submerged timer, and watch the distance that you pull away. Once you're coming to the surface, make sure you are well away from those drones. They seem to have a range somewhere around about 150, which is twice the distance of your own range circle. So that position I'm in now, the drones can't get me. They won't move close enough to that point while I'm on the surface to start shooting at me, or to trigger them chasing me. Now, I'm trying to rush, and I'm thinking, well, let's throw a pinch at the hulk. I've got loads of them, and I've got a sliver of health. If I can pinch it and the drones are far enough away, I might just get it. But no, there was that solo drone coming in from the right, and I hadn't even seen it. So that's going to be a full fleet repair to go back in and finish those last few ships. And I've got 306,000 points so far off that target. It's the last one I need for a set to get the bonus. So, just under 4.5 hours repair at raid time, and you can see the empty sea map that took a while to fill means that I need to refresh, which I did while I was repairing. Coined the repair using the GM crew switch over, and I've come back out, and luckily my target is still there. The snipers didn't find it. So, 3 full health Hellwraiths and a kamikaze gunboat, and as you can see, the 3 main ships have gone back to the to the middle of the map, so it gives me lots of space to come in while the drones rush over to the right hand edge. And that's a key in this level 75 target. The drones always stay at that right hand end, so if your main target ships are in amongst the drones, don't try and sneak in or rush them, just wait. The target ships will U-turn and they'll come back across to the left, and you can get them without any interference from the drones. And I should have turned away a lot quicker, because the Hades started shooting at me and I took a bit of damage. It was only about 7 minutes worth of damage, but if every Hades was doing that every time I attacked, then it would be half the fleet's health before I'd finished the target. So don't underestimate the Hades. They can't shoot at you while you're underwater, but they can get you when you're on the surface. Just mop up these few drones now. And that's the 75 and the set done. Now I played all that lot through at double speed, just so that you'd see the movements better, but also so that the video didn't get too long. Overall, it took about an hour to do it. So I hope that's useful. I hope it's going to help you prepare for the December raid, and if it does, give the channel a like. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, because it does help, and you'll see a lot more videos like this coming up from me that will help you prepare for raids. And I'm hoping that the Christmas raid being 7 days, I'll be able to get videos out at the start of it if there's been any changes to the targets. So there we are, all done. Back to dock. What did we learn? Well, don't use click on the target to target it. Inch in manually, keep it on the very edge of range. Don't attack the thermal ships via the oil slicks, you'll overshoot and they'll start shooting back at you. Approach at the correct angle to avoid triangulation and get remote targeted. Allow time to turn away before you surface. Watch the drones to stop them catching you, and use a cheap repair kamikaze flag for the subs. Thanks for watching, see you all soon.